Of all the distractions I encounter when I'm recording church organs, I think the worst one of all has to be the sound of the aeroplane. Because when an aeroplane soars overhead, its pitch changes, and that really clashes with the pitch of an open diapason. Dum. Oh, I can't stand it. However, yesterday I visited a village in Oxfordshire on the flight path from RAF Bryce Norton, and to my complete surprise, there is one genre of music which defies all my objections. It seems to blend perfectly with the sound of those contraptions up there in the heavens. And that music is called plainsong. If there's one thing we can always rely on, it's the weather. And more specifically, it's that the weather will be unreliable. But nonetheless, today is full of promise as I make my way towards a village called Cote in Oxfordshire. The smell of the farmyard, the feel of the drizzle on my cheeks, it could only be England, couldn't it? Today is very interesting to me because this is the first time that I've visited a Baptist chapel on my adventures, and this chapel apparently hasn't been used at all this year, but nonetheless it's very well cared for, and I really want to use it as a recording studio because it has its own pipe organ. My cameras are feeling just a little bit worse for wear, but I think this is the place. It may be a damp and miserable day, but this place is still extremely evocative. That sheet of whiteness above, impenetrable clouds with a distant plain going overhead from Bryce Norton, and this completely sodden autumnal grass. The slate roof of this Georgian building, and just the quietness, but the constant smell of smoke from some distant bonfire. It's quite amazing. This small meeting area, a kitchen. Turn left and we enter the heart of this Baptist chapel. To be honest, I've never seen such a building. Founded in the early 1700s, and with all its original furnishings. Back in 1851, the congregation here was recorded at 200, plus 40 in the local Sunday school. But into the 20th century, the community here started to decline, and unfortunately by 1994, the building was in such a state that it had to be handed over to the Historic Chapels Trust. There it remained until this year, when unfortunately that trust had to wind up its activities. And then the chapel passed to the Friends of Friendless Churches. And I'm sure they have some amazing plans for the future of this chapel. But why don't we start with music? Brilliantly, this chapel boasts its own pipe organ. And we have to head upstairs to the gallery to play it. It's a very small instrument, one of the smallest that I've ever played, in fact. It's very delicate, with a beautiful patina on the woodwork. And this is an organ by Henry Jones of Fulham Road in London. Where did I last hear that name? Well, last year I went to London and I was amazed to find an organ in London Bridge Station, right by the Shard. That organ was built by Henry Jones. It was nicknamed Henry in his honour. I only ever snapped the London Bridge organ in portrait mode for Instagram, I'm afraid. But I'm glad I did. You never know where these photos will come in handy. This organ, like the one at Cote, was built by Henry Jones, who was active in the late 1800s. He built mainly small organs, but some larger ones as well, such as at the Royal Aquarium in London, now sadly demolished. This organ piped away in a North London church until 2020, but when that church closed, its future became uncertain. So a charity called Pipe Up for Pipe Organs moved it here, making it the first ever public railway station organ. My iPhone camera does it no justice, I'm afraid, but have a listen anyway. Welcome back to Cote, where I have removed my coat and am about to unravel and reveal the wonders of the pipe organ here in the chapel. I must admit, I'd much rather be playing this organ than the one in the London Bridge station. How many people are watching? None. So, just like the organ in London, this instrument just has one keyboard. Next to it, there is a copy of J.S. Bach's Organ Works, so it obviously has been played fairly recently. Although I'm not sure how that organist intended to play those pieces. Toccata and Fugue in D minor, Prelude and Fugue in D major, F minor, and the St. Anne Prelude and Fugue in E flat. Wow. Well, this organ has a very dinky pedal board and just one keyboard. So I think those grand works might have been slightly too ambitious. Anyway, let's switch this organ on. 2025 marks a fresh start for the chapel at Cote. It may be over 300 years old, but This year is the first in which it's been cared for by the Friends of Friendless Churches. And with that in mind, I wanted to go back to the very beginnings of music, in a way, to perhaps the earliest audible record of the first 1,000 years of music. And that brings us to plainsong. Plainsong, or Gregorian chant, is a form of music dating back to around the 4th century. Scores like this didn't exist back then. Instead, the music was memorised, sung by monks and nuns in services, and passed on orally. These chants were only ever written down when musical notation was invented, and even then it was primitive. But thankfully, early notation gives us a record, just a glimpse into the world of our far distant past. When it comes to choosing my favourite plainsong melody, I have absolutely no hesitation. It's the setting of Ave Verum Corpus, a Latin Eucharistic chant. If you are a churchgoer, then these words will probably be very familiar to you. And it's these in the Latin which have been sung for hundreds of years. It's so hard to date this kind of music, but the earliest manuscript is perhaps from the 14th century, although it's very difficult to say exactly when this music originated. The notation is not the kind of musical notation we're used to. It takes extra precision to read it, and once transcribed into modern notation, it sounds like this. As you can tell, when played on the organ without any words, this music sounds quite bare, doesn't it? But if we use plainsong as the raw material, I think we can achieve something quite special. Why don't we take that very same extract, but put with it some very gentle accompaniment? With harmony, this music is beginning to speak my language. It may be very old, but it's very new as well. Perhaps it's because it's so singable, it's so simple, This music is refreshing and it's timeless, but that to me is only illuminated by adding some harmony to it. So continuing to use this plain song as raw material, just like the trees were raw material for the elegant woodwork here, why don't we now add part 2? And part 2 is rhythm. Rhythm is a concept that seems completely alien in medieval manuscripts. We have no idea how long each note should be, or which ones should be stressed. But it means I can be cheeky. I can push and pull the notes around however I choose. That's the beauty of this music. It's so flexible, and it has some satisfying results. Ave Verum Corpus, reimagined for the English countryside. To me, this is what these church visits should be all about producing something original. And if we take plain song as the starting point, then we can tailor the music to the circumstances. I want to finish this video by performing this new piece of music which I've composed at Cote, based on the plain song Ave Verum Corpus, which to me is the most beautiful plain song ever composed. But this plain song has a twin, and that is performed on my Viscount organ at home. So from Cote we have the inside of the church, and from the Viscount we have the outside. I moved my van over to Cote so that I could take a look at this village, and there was this magical autumnal silence about it. I didn't see any people, but I really wanted to capture it and evoke that in music, so that's how this video will conclude. And I hope you enjoy it. If you do enjoy it, then do remember to subscribe to this channel. That way, wherever my creativity takes me next, you'll be the first to know about it. You can also support me using PayPal if you'd like to, if you've enjoyed today's adventure and my music. And if you want to do that, just click on the link underneath this video and it takes you to my PayPal donations page. From there you can leave a small contribution if you're enjoying the music today and if you'd like to support me on my travels. Thank you very much. Without further ado, we'll end from Cote Baptist Chapel and its pastoral surroundings. Thanks so much, as always, for watching. Cheerio.